And again, what they are doing is employing the negative inference fallacy. They're assuming that if Jesus lays down his life for whoever the sheep are, then he didn't lay down his life for anyone else.
Let's move to John chapter 10, which is another passage that you cover in your book as well.
Right, and it's the same issue here. People who interpret John 10, where Jesus said, as the Father knows me and I know the Father, I lay down my life for the sheep. Calvinists who affirm limited atonement take that last statement, I lay down my life for the sheep, and they read into it, I lay down my life only for the sheep. That's their interpretation. But notice the text does not say that. And again, what they are doing is employing the negative inference fallacy. They're assuming that if Jesus lays down his life for whoever the sheep are, then he didn't lay down his life for anyone else. That's the false inference that they are making. And the text does not state that Jesus did not lay down his life for others than who are here referred to as his sheep. I might also point out the context. If you look at the context here of John 10, this immediate context has to do with eternal security. It does not have to do with the extent of the atonement. It has to do with eternal security. It's not an atonement text, and it certainly does not explicitly or even implicitly teach limited atonement. And the point here is that as long as the Pharisees are rejecting Jesus, later on, when you get into this discussion in the rest of John 10 and some of the other places, as long as they're rejecting Jesus, well, of course they can't be his sheep because they are rejecting his condition of becoming the sheep of Christ. And as long as they reject, they cannot receive salvation. So this is the issue here. It's another case, another example of the negative inference fallacy.
Yeah, and like you said, it assumes that somebody has ultimately no choice as to whether to become a sheep or not, to come into the fold.
Right.
Which obviously we would believe and say that if you believe in the Lord Jesus Christ, you would become one of his. You would become a sheep. Whereas the Calvinist would assume that you're either born a sheep or a goat. You're born a reprobate or elect. And you ultimately have no meaningful choice in the matter as to whether you're a sheep or a goat. Which is, again, just assuming something, a presupposition being read into the text.